Hello, welcome to the Real Estate Players Podcast. I'm Joe Pizzuro with Breakchain Capital Investments.
And I'm James Wilson, commercial lender with Old Capital. And today's show is going to be all about property management. We got a special guest today with Velo Residential, Anselmo Torres. How are you doing today?
Thank you. Thank you for the introduction. Thank you for the opportunity to speak about the wonderful world of property management.
Yeah,
It
we
is
got a good
wonderful.
list of questions for you to go over and just educate the listeners on property management. I think it's a big subject that everybody's wanting to know more about, especially the last couple of years with struggles and operations and whatnot. So I think it's going to be a good topic.
Why don't you tell us a little bit about just a quick background and what got you to where you are?
Awesome. So I got exposed to the property management industry back in 2015, 2016, uh, and I was hooked. I wanted to be in it. Um, I was on the property management side, then went over to the vendor side, selling water conservation to multifamily owners across the country. And then had a great conversation with JC Castillo one day, and he was telling me about this great property management company he was wanting to build. Felt there was an opportunity here in DFW for just a, um, you know, right now it was kind of being operated in the dinosaur ages. He felt that there's opportunity to improve efficiencies and utilize prop tech to create a really cool property management company. So that's how Velo came about. So we're 3 years old right now, roughly 3 years old. We're at 11 properties and just shy of 2,000 units currently.
And those are they in all DFW area or a different? Okay.
All in DFW. We do have one outlier in Tyler, Texas. But we want to focus on DFW. It's our backyard, and we want to get really good here.
Yeah. Well, give a quick overview of Velo. I know you've explained it to me before, but what's kind of the thing that distinguishes you guys? I think part of it is the AI or the automation, right?
The AI, the automation, but also incorporating a central services team into our business model.
Okay.
Kind of one of the key words going around in the property management industry is centralizing different roles just to be more efficient and save on costs. So whether that's leasing, whether that's maintenance, whether that's uh, even rotating staff between properties. Um, so for us, it's built into our model from the very beginning, centralizing specifically the back office operations so that our on-site staff can really focus on what's important to you as an owner, which is collecting rent, maintaining those work orders, and having the time to engage with residents, prospective residents, and even vendors that come into the office. So by taking off all the back office operations, it really gives our on-site staff the ability to do what they really enjoy doing. That's engaging with residents and leasing the property.
Yeah, I think that's going to be huge going forward in the near future. James?
Yeah, so you guys manage a bunch of properties in DFW, and you probably look at a lot of properties too, trying to get new ones, right? What are you guys seeing kind of occupancy around the neighborhood?
It's challenging. You see the occupancy numbers out there. I think one of the last statistics I saw was in DFW specifically, it's around 90%. Um, and we're kind of seeing that in our portfolio of properties that we manage as well. Some properties we had that are always fantastic, 95 plus, and now it's it's a challenge to keep them at that 95. And then there's some properties that were in the 80s, and it's a challenge to get them up to that 90%. Uh, it's a challenge right now. It's a
Yeah.
really really big challenge. We're having to advertise different ways. So using the ILSs, using pay per click campaigns, um, put signage outside. We're thinking of all the different ways outside the box to just bring candidates into our properties to lease these units.
And
What do you think is
what
causing the occupancy drop? Do you think it's the new supply, or do you think it's kind of tight people with tight with money right now, or what's your consensus?
I think it's a lot of that. So the new supply, I've seen it firsthand where some of our well qualified, I want to emphasize that, well qualified C renters, man, that A class property that's a couple miles down the street is very appealing to them because they are well qualified. And for just a couple $100 more, I can get into an A class property. They're driving to that new property. So
Is it the concessions are so good on the A class? Yeah. Okay.
it's a combination of the concessions, and sometimes it's a combination of, in the B and C class space, we were pushing the rents so high
Yeah.
that the gap between the A class rent and that B and C class rent got a lot smaller.
Yeah.
So, for that well qualified C renter, now they're going to A class. And some of the other on the opposite end of that is, we're managing properties that, some of them have distressed properties as neighbors. Those distressed properties are throwing the kitchen farm at some of these, prospective residents with, multiple months of free rent, significant concessions, uh, $0 app fees. It's getting really competitive. So as a, prospective resident, if you're looking at a couple different properties and, even though a Velo managed property looks fantastic compared to the comp, and that comp down the street is really just giving you all kinds of concessions, anything to get you in the door, then they're going to look at that as an option. So it's extremely challenging to compete, for residents right now.
What in your portfolio are you spread across the three classes or mostly in a certain asset class or
We're strictly in the B and C class space
okay.
right now. We are going to be managing an A class property here soon, but all of our experience right now is in the B and C class space. Workforce housing, that 80s, 90s, 70s built properties. That's our bread and butter right now.
So what's kind of your criteria for like taking on a new property? Are there any properties you say no to, or do you kind of vet the sponsor a little bit? How does that work?
We've said no a lot lately, and the reality is, Velo, we're a smaller organization. Um, we're basically in startup mode. We're a for-profit organization, so when we bring in business, we have to make money. Um, we're we're not chasing units just to bring on new business. We actually um, bring in an opportunity and run it through it like a deal and analyzer, and it'll tell us, hey, this is good business to pursue, or this is not good business to pursue. Uh, so we look at it overall from like a T12. We also start looking at the sponsor as well, or the owner, the potential owner, and grade them as well. We'll ask questions from the previous management company or some of the LPs, or just people that I know within the industry that could give me feedback. At the end of the day, we want to partner up with multifamily owners that want to make more money with less stress, and find a partner that's going to help us get there, and do it for the long term too. We don't want to just partner with somebody and have them flip the property in a year and now we're starting over again. So we're looking more for like those long-term holders, well capitalized, and just a good fit for us.
Yeah, no, that's good to hear. And some companies they just look for units and they grow too fast and they can't handle the growth as far as just from a overhead perspective. They outgrow themselves basically. So that's
Yeah,
good that you
it's
guys
it's
are doing that.
the property management business is people focused, right? And I think some of the organizations, if you start growing too fast, you've got to cut corners somewhere, and usually that falls on finding very qualified staff. Um, we'd rather not do that. We'd rather pay our staff, competitively. That way, so they can help us grow this organization, help us grow Velo, help us grow their own properties. Because at the end of the day, that consistency will create momentum and make more owners money.
Do you give owners kind of a budget of what you think that property is going to require for a quality manager? Do you have a certain figure, or what you do you ballpark stuff, or how does that work?
We do. We always appreciate when an owner reaches out to us in advance and says, "Hey, can you help me out? Can you put together a budget on what it would take for Velo to manage the property?" Because then that's us putting together numbers, putting together a budget, putting together a plan that we feel confident executing. And then we work together with that owner. It's give and take. There's some areas where we could get better. There's some areas where, maybe we need to cut back a little. But it's a give and take with that specific owner. I've seen the opposite. I've seen owners say, "Hey, I won this deal. Here's what I have budgeted. Can you manage the property?" And I ask, "Hey, where did you get these numbers from? What did somebody else verify these numbers for you?" And they said, "No, this is just kind of what my sheet says." And that makes it incredibly challenging because oftentimes those numbers, specifically around payroll, are nowhere close to what we can do. So always reach out to a property management company in advance to just get those numbers verified to help you build your budget.
Yeah, I was at a conference or at a panel one time, and one of the guys was saying about property management was, a lot of people underwrite the basic market budget, but then, that property might not do as well. So while maybe you're saving money on expenses and payroll, you're actually losing money because you have not as good of a manager that you could have, and the property could be performing better.
Yeah, specifically on payroll, we've seen really low payroll numbers. And if you start hiring people at that payroll number, you're going to have a lot of turnover, and
Yeah.
turnover just really kills momentum. And you're handing the keys to your 10 to 20 million dollar investment, and you want to make sure that that individual is qualified and can handle the keys that you've given them.
How do you ensure tenant retention? Are there things to do at the property you guys try to implement?
We do events. It's always whether it's like Christmas, Thanksgiving, like this month is Hispanic Heritage Month, looking at different events to just kind of bring vendors onto the property, and whether it's lunches, breakfasts, different ways to engage with the residents that way. We also were big on 5-star reviews. So we found that the best time to ask for a review is immediately after move-in and right after a work order has been completed. It's the best time. Yeah, because if we've done our job correctly, they're going to be very happy, and they're much more likely to give us a 5-star review at that time.
Just installed a brand new AC. Go ahead and leave us a new review.
Exactly. Yes, they're nice and cool now. They're not burning hot. So those are typically the ways that and right now it's all about renewals. We're very focused on the renewals right now. We want to keep these heads in beds right now and live to fight for another year. So that's the goal right now. It's a lot of emphasis on the renewals right now.
I'm curious
Yeah,
about your maintenance process with the technology you're using. How do you guys manage all those requests and get them all taken care of?
So some of it is an education process. So we use a portal, so they can actually use an app on their phone to submit a work order, or they can call a 1-800 number. It's a call center, and input their work order, and it automatically gets created in our CRM. The one thing that I really like about that is it keeps the resident outside of our office, specifically with our leasing staff or our property management, on-site manager, so that they can focus on what's really important, leasing up the property as opposed to, you know, um, helping out that individual with a work order. Most of them, you educate them once on how to submit a work order on their portal or give them the number that they can call. They do it after that. It saves up a lot of time, and plus the resident doesn't have to go to the office. Now they can just do it through their phone or call.
I'm guessing that's a KPI that you track too, like the time it takes to turn those over, or
It is. It's one of the KPIs that we measure. We want to make sure that any work orders don't exceed a certain amount of time. And if they are exceeding a certain amount of time, it kind of flags us, and we want to know what those reasons are. Sometimes it's because we had to order a part, and that part is going to come in 5 days after the work order was submitted. We want to be able to give that resident feedback. Okay, we'll get to your work order. We've ordered the part. It's going to take us this long. We haven't forgot about you, but here's an update.
I wonder, does that skew the metrics? Like, because then it may show it took 10 days to fix this toilet, but it really, because you were waiting on some part for 9 of the days,
Yeah. You've got those one-offs like that. But then it could bring us to the, hey, maybe we need to order flappers and have some in stock. And, that way, so
Right.
that was, it kind of helps us dig deeper into that problem. If we consistently see something like that happening.
What are some other, what are your typical reports that you provide ownership, or, like your typical process of updating ownership?
I think the best thing that we do is we just give you 100% access to our CRM. So you as an owner, you don't have to wait for us to send you your monthly reports or your weekly KPIs. If there's a specific report that you want to see, you can log in and you can access it. The same is true for invoices. So if there's an invoice that caught your attention and you want to know what it was for, you have the ability to drill down and actually see the specific invoice and what it was for. So a lot of transparency, giving you that view access to the CRM. I mentioned, obviously, we do the monthly reporting, but we also send out weekly KPIs that helps us determine where we are at in terms of plan, not only for the month, but also for the year on your property.
What CRM do you guys use?
We use AppFolio.
Okay.
how do the owners like having access? Is that, I'm guessing that they like it a lot, right? Joe gives a thumbs
Yeah.
up.
And it's interesting, when owners come to us from different platforms, some of them actually don't get like that complete transparency and that complete view access. Their ability to pull reports is limited, so they like it a lot. Now, are all of them actually logging in and pulling reports? Some of them are, but we want to give them that ability to do that.
Yeah, if they just want to check on something, or if they see some anomaly or something and they just want to go in and look, they have that access.
100%.
So one thing,
Joe likes it, right? Joe, you like having that 100% access.
yeah,
and
just
the ability.
just show me how to do it, and I'm there. You go. Teach a guy. How do you say it? Teach a man to fish.
Yeah, he'll be fed for a lifetime.
Yep.
Yeah.
So what I want to know is what do you think, in your opinion, what are the pillars or the aspects that are most important in managing a property? I mean, obviously leases and collections, right? But and those could be your answer as well. But if there are any other important aspects you feel.
It's that on-site staff. I mean, they're the heartbeat of your property. So, finding good quality staff that are well paid, that aren't going to leave for 50 cents that they got offered down the street by another property. That right now, a lot of them are stressed out. as we're leaving kind of the main busy peak season of leasing, man, they're super stressed. They've just been through the most challenging 3 months of their lives. Some of them are still dealing with occupancy issues. Some of them are still dealing with vendors that are calling them nonstop about payment on different invoices. So they're doing a lot of different roles right now. So I'll say, there should be a huge emphasis on just taking care of your on-site staff, making sure that they're compensated fairly, that they're treated fairly, that they're respected, and that you really just listen to them. Ask them what their challenges are. See if you can provide them solutions, because a lot of them are really stressed out right
$1 million question. How do you keep the staff happy and motivated? What's your secret?
Well, you let us manage your property first, Velo, because that's the whole reason why kind of Velo was created. Our central services team is there to take off all of that stuff that typically stresses out your on-site staff. It's handled by our back office team, so by our central services team. So it allows that property manager to really focus on what they need to do. And there's been property managers that have come to us and said, oh my God, I have so much time. I don't know what to do, because you've taken off all of that administrative, all that accounting, some of the leasing requirements off my plate. Now I feel like I have a ton of time. And we're okay with that. We want them to have that time to, again, collect rent, to get that market intel with market surveys, understanding what's going on in your little pocket.
Better customer service, smiling when people come in and not just stressed out, right?
Yeah. I mean, how many offices have you walked into and there's a pile of invoices sitting on that property manager's desk and the phone's ringing off the hook? There's 3 people in line in front of you, and that poor on-site staff is just overwhelmed.
She's like, is today going to be the day that I walk off?
Yes. Yeah. I've seen it, I've probably walked almost 500 properties in 10 years, and I see it over and over and over again. So, you walk into a Velo office and that phone isn't ringing off the hook. It's kind of a beautiful thing. Again, we use Appfolio, we use Lisa, which is the AI part of it, and that helps us kind of minimize some of those phone calls and directs them where they need to go.
That's great. Sounds like you guys put a lot of forethought into the way you set up this property management company.
Well, if anybody knows JC, he's very thoughtful and SOP driven and process oriented. So all of that was thought about, when creating Velo.
So we got about a minute left. Do you want to tell the viewers, so how do they reach out to you? How do they connect with you?
Great question. So you can find me on LinkedIn, Anselmo Torres III. I'm with Velo Residential. You can find me there. My email address is anselmo.torres@veloresidential.com. And I'll give it to you guys so you can, I guess, share it in the notes or share it somewhere. But that's the best way to reach me. Reach out to me. You can also go to veloresidential.com and click on schedule consultation. And that'll schedule a time for us to have a chat. So a lot of different ways to connect with us. Or you can also attend the Old Capital Conference coming up. Velo is going to be a sponsor at that event. So stop by our booth.
Excellent.
October 9th and 10th.
Yes.
We'll be there.
So will we.
Thanks for joining us, Anselmo.
Yeah, thank you.
Great episode. Thanks for your insight.
It was awesome. I appreciate the opportunity. We'll see you guys.
Thanks for watching, guys.
See you.